Hey guys, how are you doing today? It's P.E. Gilbert, your blogger, writing consultant, and the author to the fantasy novella The Sultan's Daughter. And today we are going to discuss how much money Tenet has made at the box office so far and whether it can be considered a success or a failure. But before we go any further with today's video, hit that subscribe button. Tenet is the latest Christopher Nolan film. It stars J.D. Washington, R. Pats, Elizabeth Debicki, Michael Caine, Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Kenneth Branagh, among other actors. And IMDb outlines the plot as follows. Armed with only one word, Tenet, and fighting for the survival of the entire world, a protagonist journeys through a twilight world of international espionage on a mission that will unfold in something beyond real time. Put simply, Tenet is a sci-fi espionage thriller that deals with time inversion. The film was supposed to come out on the 15th of July earlier this year, but due to the pandemic, or rather the Dark Lord that shall not be mentioned, the film was delayed several times. As a result, and with cinemas in America nearing financial ruin, Nolan virtually marketed Tenet as the film that would save the cinema industry. Apparently, he battled studio executives at Warner Brothers over the course of the summer to make sure that Tenet was released to cinemas as early as possible to get people back to movie theatres once again. And it seemed like he won his battle, as Tenet was given a series of release dates for different territories around the world between the end of August and the beginning of September. Consequently, the film came out in South Korea first on the 20th of August, was released in various European countries in the last week of August, including the UK on the 26th of that month, prior to being released in the US on the 3rd of September, followed by in China the following day. So how much money has Tenet raked in on total since its release a month ago? According to Variety, as of the 27th of September, Tenet grossed $280 million across the globe. The film took in around $20 million in America on its opening weekend, and that figure rose to $36.1 million up to the 20th of September and to $41 million by the 27th of that month. By contrast, in China, Tenet took $29.8 million on its opening weekend, and that figure rose to $60.6 million up to the 20th of September. So, based on these figures, has Tenet been a box office success or failure? In simple economic terms, the film is nowhere close to breaking even. Tenet's production budget was between $200 and $225 million, so the film's takings have covered those costs. However, when the marketing budget comes into the equation, the costs for the film double, and more. This means that at a basic starting point, Tenet needed to make around $500 million at minimum to break even. And this figure is dwarfed compared to what IndieWire claimed earlier this year when they asserted that Tenet needed to make an eye-watering $800 million at the box office just to break even. Clearly, Tenet has not made anywhere near those figures, and it doesn't look like it will either, especially the astronomical latter one. Cinemas around the world have apparently promised Christopher Nolan that they will continue to show Tenet for a while. But bearing in mind that the film has been out for a while now and has earned $280 million worldwide, maybe it will make another $50 million in time. This is realistic, but that still means that the film will take in less than $350 million worldwide, and that is still around $150 million short of the lowest estimation for its overall costs, and some $450 million short at the highest end. Moreover, for a film that was projected to make over $1 billion a year ago, $280 million is desperately disappointing and would be considered a massive flop under normal circumstances. Nevertheless, 2020 has consisted of anything but normal circumstances since the Dark Lord that shall not be mentioned sent forth his Death Eaters and paralysed the world. Indeed, the pandemic has hit the movie industry hard, and this must be taken into consideration when assessing Tenet's success at the box office. An anonymous Warner Brothers executive asserted as much in the following statement. Domestically, while our results show positive like-for-like theatre indicators compared to previous films such as Dunkirk, there is literally no context in which to compare the results of a film opening during a pandemic with any other circumstance. We are in unprecedented territory, so any comparisons to the pre-COVID world would be inequitable and baseless. He has a point. Almost all of America's near 5,900 cinemas have been closed since March. While Tenet was supposed to be the film to open them up again, in reality, this has not happened, as it's seemingly not safe. As a result, only 2,810 cinemas, or 58%, opened for Tenet, but the Los Angeles and New York markets remain closed, along with most of the rest of California, North Carolina, Michigan, New Mexico, Seattle and Portland. All of this has severely reduced the number of people able to see the movie and hurt the film financially. In addition, the cinemas that have opened have enforced strict social distancing rules, meaning that fewer people can see a showing at any given time, which again has hurt the film in its pocket. Thus, one could argue that it is a miracle that Tenet has raked in $280 million so far, and especially the $20 million at the American box office on its opening Labor Day weekend. To give you some perspective on usual Labor Day weekend takings, the record is held by Rob Zombie's Halloween, which came out in 2007 and took in $30.5 million. Based on that figure, minus inflation and the net effect of the pandemic, Tenet's opening weekend earnings are pretty respectable, if not groundbreaking. Similarly, the $60 million that Tenet has made in the Chinese market so far isn't bad. To compare Tenet to how Christopher Nolan's other films have fared in China, it holds up, as The Dark Knight Rises made $53 million in 2012 and Dunkirk made $52 million in 2017. However, Inception took in $68 million in 2010 and Interstellar made between $122 and $140 million in 2014 and its recent re-release in China. Clearly, Tenet is not going to rake in anywhere near Interstellar's figures, which is disappointing, particularly because the Chinese cinema industry is more or less back to normal. Lastly, let's address Tenet's legacy for the movie industry as a whole to judge whether or not the film has been a success. Has Tenet, or rather Operation Christopher Nolan to the rescue, as IndieWire cheekily calls it, brought people back to the cinema en masse in America? Well, the answer is simply that it's too early to say. The only other major film that has come out since the pandemic began is Disney's New Mutants, the rebooted X-Men franchise starring Maisie Williams, which came out the week before Tenet. New Mutants only took $7 million at the box office on its opening weekend and has since gone on to take a total of $38.9 million worldwide. These are incredibly disappointing figures considering that the film had a production budget of between $67 and $80 million, and of course one needs to double that for the marketing costs, plus the film had to go through several reshoots amidst a troubled production, all of which would have cost the studio as well. Maybe one could argue that Unhinged, the Russell Crowe thriller, is another major film that has come out since the pandemic wrought havoc on the world. It came out in America on the 28th of August and has made $17 million worldwide since its theatrical release in Germany in mid-July. Therefore, based on the box office results of New Mutants and Unhinged, Tenet has actually done quite well. Yet, there have been no other major films released in cinemas since Tenet came out. And no, the new Mulan film doesn't count, as it was released on video on demand on Disney+, and from what I've read, that film stands to make a heavy loss as well. The next big releases for cinemas are scheduled to be the James Bond film No Time to Die and Wonder Woman 1984, which are currently meant to come out on the 11th of November and the 25th of December respectively of this year. It will be interesting to see how these films fare when they finally hit the big screen. Then we'll truly be able to determine how financially successful Tenet has been and if it did manage to get people back into cinemas. And that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have found this video interesting. Like, comment and hit that subscribe button, and tell me, do you think Tenet has been a financial success or failure under the circumstances? Also, in your opinion, how much money would the film have needed to take at the box office to be considered a success? Moreover, my debut fantasy novella, The Sultan's Daughter, is out. It may not have made anywhere near as much money as Tenet has made, or lost, so far. But if you enjoy reading a book that is short, fast-paced and full of suspense, then check it out. I have left a link in the description below. Otherwise, until next time, keep well. Once again, guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it and I hope you've enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button and then you will be the first to receive more awesome content from my channel, and I hope to see you again soon.